This is the vlog for December 18th, 2018. The last 18 of 2018. Not that that's particularly meaningful. But I'm going to talk today about Warframe because today is Fortuna Part 2. And it sort of snuck in. We all knew that the Mesa Prime Access was going to drop today, but they kept saying they wanted to have this out before the holiday break, which I took to mean before Friday, which was to say Friday or Thursday if they were lucky. They got it out today on Tuesday, and it's probably for the best, and I can kind of understand why. They're not a big company. There's about 200 employees total, and they're all working on this thing right now. They got it out, and then they immediately found a bunch of bugs. So imagine my surprise when I woke up this morning, and not only did I find out that the patch updated, but Rebecca and Steve from Digital Extremes were streaming. They were shilling for the update. Steve kept calling it the corporate chill stream. I understand why they were doing it. The update launched with a lot of nasty bugs that basically made the big new mechanic, the Orb heist battles, completely undoable. I think they were failing to spawn the Orb in some cases, or you just couldn't finish the mission. Some sort of soft lockup that prevented progress. So they had to get that fixed right away. I didn't log in until the first hotfix had already gone up. Actually, I logged in, but I didn't do any of the new content until the first hotfix went up. Well, it's patch day. And what do I mean by that? I mean, the day of an update is the day that you're going to find all of the bugs that you couldn't find while you were actually testing the game. Testing in a closed environment is a completely different experience at the end of the day than going live with an online game and suddenly having thousands upon thousands of testers that are going to find every single problem that you missed. I'm speaking as a professional tester from years of experience. Games that had serious bugs, almost every Zelda game had a serious bug from Twilight Princess on. I think all the major Zelda games had to be patched and have a re-release. With Twilight Princess's case, it was sort of interesting because the Wii was the first system to have a constant internet connection, so they could feasibly do a patch. In the past, they had to make new editions of the game. Super Smash Bros. Melee players specifically seek out very particular revisions of the game, because I think they were 3 or 4 total. And one of them, I'm not even sure if it's the most recent one, is the right one. And all the others are sort of problematic. They have bugs or exploits that make the game unfair. And that was very important for the players of that franchise. But Warframe, my experiences were not smooth. Trying to get groups going today, the servers that DE keeps up are under a lot of strain. For whatever reason, today didn't seem as smooth as when Fortuna actually launched, which is sort of weird. But it does feel like this was a bit of a rush. They didn't have a firm deadline for Fortuna. They wanted to get it out early November, but they didn't have a firm, we have to have it drop dead done by this time. And this time they really do want to have it done by Christmas. They want to have the majority of their hotfixes out by the end of this week. And I absolutely understand. Nobody wants to be on their Christmas break and see people on Twitter. Because here's the thing. These guys are probably going to go on a winter holiday break starting Christmas Eve, Monday next week. I think it's Monday. They aren't going to work for the rest of the week unless they absolutely have to, even if they're salary. Especially if they're salary, honestly. If they, while they're on their break, read Twitter or hear any of the Let's Play people like Tactical Potato or Quiet Shy or iFlynn or any number of other guys, Triberon, These guys are going to find any big, nasty mistakes and make a stink out of it. People on Twitter, if they find a bug, they're going to say it ruined their Christmas break. They're going to see all this stuff and they're going to come back feeling like, and it's no fun. And I really hope that they try not to go on social media and look at what people are saying about Fortuna after Friday. I think they all deserve, after this amazing year, they've had an amazing year. And after this Friday, they deserve a week off. They deserve a week off to, calm down, recharge, spend time with family, friends, open some presents, and enjoy Boxing Day. But yeah, my personal experience was loading into a mission where I had to fish up 5 fragments, but after 3 fragments, the fish weren't spitting anything up anymore. So it's basically a soft lock. I think that might be a soft lock for anybody that does that mission in a group, because all the chat, the voice of the NPCs talking seems to indicate 3 total fragments. So increasing that to 5 may have broke it for group play. So do that first bounty in the Orb Heist by yourself. I did the rest of the bounties by myself, and the second and third were probably going to be easier if I had a group. I was afraid I was going to have to do a spy mission, and if I was in a group, either somebody else would screw it up or I would screw it up for everybody else. So I wanted to try and avoid doing that. I don't think there were any real spy missions in the classic sense where you trip the alarms and then you have to get something done before everything expires and you lose your data that you're trying to steal. So that's good. The Orb Mothers themselves, though. Now, I had a game-breaking bug occur on my very first one. And for what it's worth, I don't seem to be able to load into the stage 4, the final fight against the actual Orb Mother, at the start. I keep coming in sort of in the middle of the action. But having gone through this 3 times now, I do understand the fight. In the first one I went through, I got in there and I was taking hits and I didn't know exactly what I was doing. And then I suddenly found that I couldn't attack anymore. And I couldn't use any of my Warframe's abilities anymore. I couldn't switch weapons. I couldn't use any of my gear. I was very confused. Someone suggested I let myself get killed and that should resolve the issue. I also found out I was invincible for whatever reason. So I had to quit out of that mission. That was sort of annoying. The second one I got in, it was very far along. It was already in its final phase, and I didn't feel like I contributed much because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just hammering away at the Orb Mother with whatever weapons I happened to use, and I didn't seem to be doing much damage. But eventually, the rest of my team made up for it, and they did enough to really bring the thing down, and I got my reward. The reward right now is a little bit limited. It's basically an item that increases the rep with the faction that's just had all of its ranks opened up. And that's sort of, they're the same thing as the first Eidolon fight in the Plains of Eidolon, which doesn't give you a lot of stuff. You need to really do 3 in a row to get the really good stuff these days. The third time I went out and fought one, I had a much more positive experience because I learned something. The fight is sort of 3 different phases that sort of repeat themselves. Essentially, what you have to do is hit the major part of the body with a weapon that does a damage type that it's currently weak to. Otherwise, its shields shrug off all damage. Once the body shields have been dealt with, then you can start attacking the legs. And this is where you want to bring out your arch gun that you can now use in an atmosphere with a little special item that you get through doing these bounties. You want to wail on the legs with as much force as possible, using your arch gun if you can. And then once all the legs have been damaged badly enough, the whole thing collapses, and then it launches little pylons, or rather the corpus launch pylons that restore energy to the Orb Mother, and give its shields back. So you have to destroy those pylons as fast as possible, and then you get back to the first phase, damaging the body with whatever it's weak against, damaging the legs with your arch gun, falls over another time, Now there's 6 pylons where there were only like 3 before. You destroy all of those, and then you're in the final phase where you're just hammering the thing with a time limit of about 5 minutes to see how much damage you can possibly do. And in the meantime, there are tons of corpus that are flying in, being dropped off. There are groups teleporting in. They'll put down the beacons that increase their numbers. It's like stars in GTA. And the orb itself has tons of weapons. It has huge Gatling guns beneath it. It launches rockets. It has major lasers on the front of its face. So you don't want to be standing in front of it when it does that attack. And it has these annoying shields that form around it and then fly outward, which send you rocketing away. In addition to a major shockwave attack, which is different, it's a lot less tall and much thinner, so you have to sort of stay under it or over it to avoid it. It's fun when it works. I can't wait to keep doing it because it is going to be a very fast way to grind rep for these guys, even more so than with Eidolon hunts, especially when you compare how much rep you get from an orb heist compared to how much rep you get from an Eidolon hunt. An Eidolon hunt, you're going to get quite a few exceptional cores and then one flawless, like maybe 1 or 2 flawless cores. The flawless cores are good for 1,200 rep. The exceptional cores are good for 500 rep. Every single orb heist that you do gets you an item that you can turn in for 6,000 rep. And if you have a resource booster that doubles the amount of resources that you pick up, you get 2 of them per orb heist. So, that's substantially better. But the fight itself takes a lot longer than, for example, a Terrorist fight. A Terrorist fight, gosh, I've seen people take these things down in 2 minutes from start to finish. So they're on, what was the term we used when I played World of Warcraft? They're on farm. The orbs, people have been able to kill them pretty fast, but not that fast. So, I've talked for 12 minutes about this. It's a lot of fun. Warframe is still a blast. It's going to take some time to get all these bugs ironed out. I hope by the end of the week that the majority of really game-breaking bugs have been dealt with and people can just enjoy the orb heists and have fun. I know that I need to do a lot of the not fighting the Orb Mother quest to make the new weapons that came out. Maybe I'll talk more about the other content in the patch tomorrow. Till then, I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.